The Last of the 20 by Wdowski. Gene therapy. Please explain how the mole men got into the complex. There were no signs of false entry in the library. Miller inquired, turning his attention back to the large screen. He watched the video of the mole men desecrating the bodies of the dead officers. The main computer, still playing the video, responded. They did not break in. They were developed in the shelter's biolabs. In the video, the mole men's actions became even more ghastly. Please end video display and explain how they were developed in the biolabs. 124 finally spoke up, having been silent while watching the video. Were they the failed genetically engineered Reclaims men? Negative. The computer began answering both their questions. The Reclaims Men project was abandoned for an attempt to cure the mutated CCP virus. Dr. Joan Alter proposed that the labs instead use viral vector-mediated gene therapy in an attempt to reverse the mutation of the virus. Miller interrupted. Please explain viral vector-mediated gene therapy. Upon the screen, the computer displayed an animated video of the process. Using a virus as a vehicle, the scientists took advantage of a virus's natural ability to insert genetic code into host cells. They remove the DNA of a virus and replace it with the DNA that the scientist wants to inject into the cells of the body. The modified virus changed the DNA in the host cells, spreading like a normal virus. The objective was to erase the damaging genetic code created by the mutated CCP virus and replace it with healthy human DNA sequences. Miller turned to 124. They created the mole men. It seems so. Computers don't lie. Responded 124, unless they're programmed with incorrect information or premises. Garbage in, garbage out. I remember learning in classes how the first AI language models displayed the woke, political biases of their human programmers. Miller concurred, turning his attention back to the mainframe computer. So, what went wrong? What went wrong is that sometimes the host body will see the modified viruses as threats just like they would any virus. The body's natural immune system will attack them. Viruses in defense will alter themselves, mutate, to counter the host body's defenses. These cellular-level arms races led to the modified viruses mutating into something that Dr. Alter did not foresee. She made the same mistake the Chinese did with the CCP virus. So, she created mole men? Miller asked. Yes, one could say that. They took prisoners from the New Haven Correctional Center to find volunteers for the experiment in exchange for their freedom. 50 males volunteered. They obtained 50 female inmate volunteers from the York Correctional Institution in Niantic, Connecticut. Well, that explains the mole men personalities. They were convicted criminals. 124 moved closer to the mainframe screen. How did the mole men overtake the shelter? Miller asked. Dr. Alter's gene therapy worked too well, yet had major side effects. The computer displayed a biological examination of a nude mole man standing upright. She was able to reverse the harming effects of the mutated CCP virus. It actually made the test subjects physically superior. They could drink infested water with no risk, and they were extremely healthy, warding off all viruses, not only the CCP virus. It was even a cure for the common cold. All sounds good. What were the negative side effects? The mainframe computer shifted the focus of the mole man image to different parts of the creature. They physically became much stronger, able to absorb multiple gunshots, and quickly healing from any physical damage. The test subjects became extremely difficult to kill. The male subjects all grew thick facial and body hair. The female subjects developed no facial hair and only light fur of body hair. The gene therapy reacted differently to Y chromosomes. The females with XX ended up maintaining more of the human features than the males. The major negative side effect was the regression of the frontal lobe of their brains, which is the center of mental maturity and reasoning skills for humans. Miller stated. Correct. The computer confirmed. Miller stood from his chair and looked at 124. It doesn't make sense. 124 asked, what doesn't make sense? If the mole men are so difficult to kill, and they have been active for the last decade, how have they not completely overrun and destroyed the prune faces? I am sorry. I do not have enough data to calculate why that is. Does it matter? Answered 124. Miller turned back to the mainframe workstation. Why haven't the mole men wiped out the mutations? Numbers and breeding. The computer responded. Please elaborate. The computer screen above him showed the upright figure of a nude mole female. The female subjects produce an extremely reduced number of eggs. They are only fertile 4 times a year, unlike pre-virus human females that are fertile 12 times a year. Their existence of only a decade makes me unable to confirm when they reach sexual maturity. Yet, from initial biological scans obtained, it can be estimated that their young may not reach sexual maturity until 20 years of age, unlike the average age of 13 for humans. And mutants. Miller pushed for more details. Mutants, due to their shortened lifespans, have evolved to reaching sexual maturity in only 3 years. They age much faster than the test subjects and pre-virus humans. From early scouting reports of the mutants, their young do not take 9 months to develop in the womb, but only 2 months. Their lack of brain development, compared to human offspring, do not require long gestation periods. Only 4.5 months, the same as a ring-tailed lemur. I have noticed humans that turn over into mutants do not lose as much of their intelligence compared to those born as mutants. Is that a fair assumption? You are correct. Those born as mutants do not have the same intelligence compared to recently turned humans. The computer reported from its massive databanks. The females will often give birth to a litter, 3 to 4 at a time. So they breed like rats. 124 injected. Whatever numbers they lose, they can replace them extremely rapidly. In a way, if it were not for the mole men, we would be facing much greater numbers of mutants. Miller's heart skipped a little over the thought. It was like Stalin said, quantity has a quality all its own. Quoted 124. Miller thought about the mole men. He may at the moment have a truce with them, but he was not sure how safe Lisa would be at Fieldview Farm. If the mole men got past the parents. He was mostly concerned about Julius and his daughters. The mole men's numbers are not strong enough to venture further west, but as their offspring do reach sexual maturity and their numbers do increase, perhaps in a couple decades, they could push out of the Connecticut or Naugatuck River Valley areas. Julius's floodlights and conventional firearms will not stop an assault on the Hi-Ho Hotel. As Miller picked up his Peppa and slung it on his shoulder, he addressed the command center's mainframe one more time. Does Shelter 3 have Peppa rifles? And if it does, why didn't the occupants use them to fight off the mole men? Peppa were developed and are stored in the armory on level 4, but never fully assembled. Due to the decision to terminate the genetically modified Reclaims Men project, in favor of the biolab focusing all its resources on the gene therapy project. The large computer screen began playing a video time stamped February 10th, 2050 AD 1. 15 a.m. Several soldiers and officers, most were dressed only in their skivvies, were hastily running to the caged armory. As one of the officers tried to quickly find the right key to unlock the door, several of the soldiers were brutally overrun. His remaining men kept firing at the mole men with their Sig Sauer XM10 rifles, giving them enough firepower to slow down the mole men. Miller, though, could see they were burning through magazines too fast. The officer, finally getting into the armory, began grabbing the components of the Pepper rifle and hurriedly tried to assemble it. His men bought him time, but not much. They too were cut down. Just as the officer was about to slip a power pack into the weapon, a mole man gave him a solid blow to the head with what appeared to be a golf club. Discontinue and power down. Miller ordered the mainframe,